Something you may not know is that Barrie could be considered overbuilt. Mind your own business. No, I have business. So what does that mean for you? Well, before we get into it, if you could head down below and hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, stay up to date with all of our content, and leave us a like. Leave us a comment after you finish watching the video. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm full of it, like Barrie is? Let us know.
Is Barrie overbuilt? You know what? I think you have to qualify that a little bit. What is overbuilt? Like, some people that have been here forever and the older people go, oh, there's just too darn many houses in the area. When you look at younger people, obviously, right, they don't think that Barrie is built up enough.
It's the amount of housing per space.
Square foot.
Yeah, a lot of the time nowadays, with multi-unit housing, a lot of the townhouses coming in, a lot of condos and that sort of thing, the argument of Barrie is becoming more overbuilt. If you want to think of a place that is something that could be considered more traditionally overbuilt, think of something like Toronto, where houses on units, on apartments, on everything like
I
that.
think the term is higher density. So what you're looking at is what we have is a more dense population. So what are they building? In the past, what you'd end up looking at is, oh, I need a detached house, single detached home, etc. Well, now the cost of that is prohibitive. Development charges in Barrie are extremely expensive. So what happens now, and actually what the city has done is they will take and postpone your development charges until after the building is finished. So that saves a lot of money. What they're also doing is everything is going up. It's way cheaper to build up than it is to build wide. So let's say, for an example, you can buy one lot that you pay maybe even $500, $800, or $1 million for, but now you can put 6 or 7 or 8 units on that. Whereas before, on that same footprint, if you're looking at single family density, then, single family dwellings, you might only get 1, maybe 2 houses on the property. So,
Yeah.
and they're going up.
Part of where I feel like the overbuild
Mentality.
sense in Barrie is coming from is even in those older, like Northeast End Barrie homes, people are now allowed to build like a second detached dwelling.
You're welcome.
They can actually do 4 units now.
So four unit, one property that
Yeah.
used to just be the single one.
Yeah.
So from that sense, I 100% agree with anyone living in those areas that it's feeling like it's becoming overbuilt, because you're going from just your one detached home on the lawn to now all of a sudden you've got more building.
So what is it that they're building? Well, you can see in behind us here, the unit there just by the mailbox, that's probably 12 to 16 units that are in there. So that lot, if you're looking at a single family residential, would probably be 2 lots at the most. And some of the things you have to worry about is when you buy a pre-construction, as an example, they'll give you a closing date. Are they going to hit the closing date? Will they actually get the job done in time? And what happens is, as you move along, get closer and closer to the closing date that you have, and you find that maybe the construction, your drywall isn't up, your light fixtures aren't in, etc. As that time constraint or that timing gets shortened and shortened, the quality of the work has a tendency to be less and less because they're racing against time to get it done. And you can just imagine if it's your unit that isn't getting done, there's also probably 7, 8, or 10, or 15, or 20 other units that aren't getting done as well. So maybe they're making $50,000 on your unit ultimately, but if you multiply that by 10 or 15 units, it's an awful lot of money that they have putting out that they're depending upon closing. And so, you worry about what is the quality of the workmanship going to be if they're behind time. So when you look at the cost of construction from the time that you bought, like if you bought the thing 2 years ago and now you're closing now, construction costs have went through the roof. Construction costs, labor, etc. And how can they honestly afford to sell you that building or that unit at the price that they sold it to you for? So those are some of the things. And when you get into the high-rise condos, it even becomes more prevalent or predominant because now you've got higher building costs, higher labor costs, etc. And it all goes back to the quality of the finishing.
I'm just a mic stand.
So overall, let's talk about growth. Growth isn't bad at all, right? But you have to have a plan for it. You have to have a strategy. And, does the plan that you have make sense? Like realistically, if someone's telling you that this build is going to be done in 18 months, etc., look back on the history of the company. Have they met closing dates, etc.? So it's just make sure you have a really good plan with it, whatever it may be, and then go forward with it.
Yeah, just move forward. You've got plenty of stuff going on. Make sure you're moving forward. These, on the other hand, are used for nothing. but cinder blocking your closing date.
One of the other things that you need to talk about or think about when you're looking at new home construction, as an example, is, right now there's tons of inventory out there because over the last 2 or 3 years, new home construction has gone crazy. You're driving around, you see all these model homes for sale, which you never saw before. And what's happening is, so that inventory is being sold, which does drop the price a little bit. But what you have to look at when you're buying a new home is when you go in there, what about some fencing? What about the decking? What about the finishing in the basement? Now you're generally getting air conditioning. In most cases, your driveway's paved. But if you're looking at new home, as opposed to, say, a house that's 3 or 5 years old in a resale, where you're going to get, the finishing of the basement, the fencing, the decking, and this stuff. So it's another thing to think about if you're looking at new home. Now, maybe you don't want to go to a 20-year-old home, but going into something that's 3 to 5 years old with a lot of that stuff completed might be a great option for you.
Yeah, there's also the thing to remember that those people that are pressed for time with the like the closing date are the same people that would be doing those upgrades to your place, adding in the fence or the deck or that sort of thing. So if you were worried about the craftsmanship moving into a tight closing date, having the extra stuff added on is just going to make things even worse.
Is Barrie overbuilt? Again, depends on what your definition of overbuilt is. I think we have a pretty good plan as far as what is being built in the city of Barrie. Long and short of it is, everybody is going up instead of wider, guys. And be prepared to see that maybe next door, sometime down the way, that you're going to have a granny flat in the backyard, and there could be 3 or 4 units there. If you have any questions at all, guys, please reach out. If you want to know, what's happening in the city of Barrie, what development is going on, reach out.